Two diabetics hiking in the middle of the mountains in Oregon. Both of our pumps are alerting, which sounds like a low, but it's not. We actually did it intentionally. I'm going to tell you why in just a little bit. We're going to catch up with the rest of our family too. My wife and daughter are way ahead of us, quite literally in the middle of nowhere. This road was made by my uncle. He owns this whole property, and we're just out and about hiking. But as a type 1 diabetic, being out and about can be tricky, especially because we both have insulin on board. So pumps were beeping, and we had a family member ask about why that was going off, like what's going on. And so here they are. There's the family, the rest of them. Ultimately, it was not a low alert, but rather pump has been turned off alert. And we actually both have the same pump right now, a tandem pump. But the strategy behind it was we both had insulin on board. Insulin plus activity can lead into a rapid blood sugar drop. So we actually both had a snack beforehand. Actually, I'm gonna bring her in. Carlin, what snack did you have?
An apple.
An apple, that's a healthy choice. I had a date upon arriving. I actually didn't know if I would be hiking. I was supposed to be working and getting back to my clients because I have type 1 diabetic clients that I work with on this kind of stuff. So last minute decision was like, all right, I'm gonna go with you guys even though I'm currently dropping. And I was at 106. I was like, with insulin on board, need to have a snack. So I had a second date. My dates about 5 grams of carbs each. And I packed an RX bar, and of course I do have my backpack, always. So backpack does have a juice box as well if I needed it, but I'm a little bit biased. I'd rather not have a juice box. I'd like to have nutritional items if I can, so I actually have an RX bar. I had a piece of that, which equates to about 5 to 6 grams of carbs, and turned my pump off at the beginning of the hike to offset the insulin on board. I know I'm getting tactical with you guys here. I hope this is helpful and not just me geeking out, but this is how I think about this stuff. All of diabetes is a math equation. So insulin on board makes us go down. Turning off the insulin makes blood sugars not continue to go down faster. At the very least, trying to make the problem less of a problem, right? And then of course, I want to be cognizant of how long the pump is turned off. So I just resumed the pump after we summited. So we went up to the top of that mountain and got to the top, and I was at 111. I'll put that on screen here as well. But that 111, I started the hike at 106, and it was stable, little guy. What's up, Jed?
Bruh.
He's not interested. So, started at 106. I was at 111, top of the mountain. It's probably gonna go up a little bit because I had my pump turned off for about 45 minutes, and that's about as long as I would want to have it off. But I ended up having a second bite of the RX bar, so another 5 to 6 grams of carbs. So now we're at a total of 20 to 22 grams of carbohydrates for this hike, in addition to my pump being turned off. Is that the magic answer for everyone? No, my dad's catching up now. Is that the magic answer for you? Probably not, right? Most times when I'm training for my triathlon or walking with my daughter, the plan changes every single time. For my triathlon training, since it's an hour and a half, 2 hours of intense exercise, whether it's swimming, biking, running, is oftentimes 70 to 80 grams of carbohydrates, which is insane. That's a meal, right? But I also plan to have that because I need to replace the fuel that I'm burning. So for endurance training, it's a different math equation. Different diabetes math. For walking around the block with my daughter, depends on current blood sugars. I might not need anything. I might need a little glucose tab, right? It changes, and that's why we use formulas. The entire game of diabetes is a balancing equation. You are balancing the formula to keep your blood sugar stable. So that's how you can see my blood sugar. I'll put it on the screen once again. 111 after hiking for an hour. Which was all uphill, by the way. We hiked up a mountain. That's not done by accident. That's very intentional, right? And it was a calculation that I made as we began what was for me a spontaneous hike. So if you feel like you aren't able to participate in spontaneous events, especially, hour and a half hike with insulin on board in the middle of nowhere, if you don't feel confident in that, that's not just how life is with diabetes. That is how life with diabetes is when lived in ignorance, right? Because now we know these things are possible. You can live in control but also have fun, right? They used to tell us it's one or the other, where you had to have a super restrictive lifestyle if you wanted blood sugars to cooperate. Me and my sister both have type 1. We're both on this hike. We both had insulin on board. It was complicated, but we made it work, and we're both stable and 100% time in range for the whole thing. That is possible. And the other choice that we used to think was the choice for diabetes was you could choose to have a full life that was spontaneous and fun, but you would give up your controlled blood sugars as a result. You can do both, but it's only accomplished with blood sugar formulas. That's what I coach my clients on as well. It is the only way. This is your path to freedom with blood sugars. So that being said, there's my daughter's water. This was entirely just a spontaneous rant I wanted to share with you guys, show you my thought process, the calculations behind today's activity. My arm is getting really tired holding my phone now. I'm being completely transparent, and it's hard to talk when you're hiking and you're at an elevation. Whew, but it's been a blast. So my wife and I are chatting about just the beauty that's out here. It's absolutely gorgeous, and this is stuff that I used to say no to, because blood sugars used to hold me back. I used to care more about controlled blood sugars than I did of actually living my life. But I realized one day that if I get to the end of my life with perfect blood sugars throughout the entire time that I was alive, no one really cares, right? Like, if you don't actually live your life, what's the point? And that moment for me was the moment that I decided to really figure this thing out. Figure out diabetes, the blood sugars. How can I go on spontaneous hikes with the family, not miss out, go for walks with my daughter who's a toddler and full of energy, and still have the controlled blood sugars that will enable me to live a long, healthy life with them, right? So that's what blood sugars are for. I know people ask about, like, how do you determine what goes into a blood sugar formula? There's a whole training we put together to give you the basic understanding of that. They are complicated to set up by yourself. It took me 2 years of dedicated research, experimentation, a few hospital visits to figure it out on my own. But that's why we coach people through this, to our safe frameworks, right? To figure out what your blood sugar formula looks like without having to experience the frustration, the pitfalls, the scary stuff, right? So, I mean, if that's something you want to learn more about, the whole formula side of diabetes, to learn more about blood sugar equations, how diabetes math works, I promise you it's a lot simpler than it sounds. I mean, if you can do addition and subtraction, you'll be able to figure it out. Math was not my strong suit, but it's ultimately given me my life back with diabetes. So if that's something you're looking for, freedom with diabetes, to explore, to eat the foods you love, to live your best life with type 1 diabetes, I invite you to go check out that training. It's like 30 minutes. It's something that you're going to want to check out if you want a full, happy, and healthy life like this. All right, so I'll put that in the description. You can also just go to diabetesinaction.com, which, if you understand the title, or if you didn't, now you do. I am living with diabetes in action, right? I'm still doing the things I love. So diabetesinaction.com. I hope you find it helpful. Get some golden nuggets for it, some aha moments. And I'm gonna get back into the hike and be present with my family, who I love, because diabetes doesn't hold me back anymore. All right, I gotta go. Hope that was helpful. Have an awesome day. Go check out that training, diabetesinaction.com, and be sure to hit subscribe before you go so you get notified of the next video. Catch you guys later. Keep up the fight. Bye. I forgot to mention the beeping and the alarms. So our pumps are both going off, which is the turn your pump back on alarm. And our family member who was asking about it, my sister, was explaining the thought process behind it. It's kind of what I already told you guys, where if blood sugars are going down, or if there is insulin on board, it can be helpful to cancel that out on an insulin pump. Now, obviously, MDI, it's not really a choice you have. Your only choice is to add insulin or add food. You can't take away insulin like you can on an insulin pump, so that's one of the big benefits to having this. But with our decision-making process, if we didn't turn our pumps off, I would have gone for a faster acting food like juice, glucose tab. My aunt actually has oranges, so something like that instead of a date or an RX bar, because the fiber can slow down the absorption as well, but it's actually what I wanted. So I just wanted to fill in that gap. Hopefully that's helpful. I gotta get this one to her nap, and yeah, if you guys have questions, put them in the comments below. Happy to help out. Have a good day.